Hi, my dear ones. How are we today? It's always a pleasure to come to you and talk to you about your health issues. And, of course, we always have little quirks here and there, and trying to keep the train on the track, so to speak, is interesting because there's so many individuals out there, and you know how that goes when everyone has a different opinion and different ideas and stuff like that, Sometimes things get off a little bit, but there's no instruction booklet here on the planet. Interesting, though, how the human species got so far away from his initial diet. It's obvious by now that National Geographic, along with a lot of us, realize that the human species is a frugivorous species. And not everything is perfect under the sun with that. I mean, in one way, everything is perfect, you could say, and in another way, it's not. Everything is the way it should be for the growth of consciousness. Hard to understand that when you look at some of these issues with diets and things like this. I'll say this, it's far more important that you understand your spirituality and you get with yourself and you spend time alone and you tap into that consciousness, that which is, that which already exists and permeates all things. The mind keeps you away from that. We've been discussing a lot about that. So you have to learn how to be conscious outside of thought, and at the same time use the mind to get what you want. But if you start wanting too much, if you go back and you review Jesus' teachings as much as we can get a hold of, the Essenes, Buddha, all these type of high spiritual aware people, they were all saying the same thing. Detachment. Stop creating if you want to understand more of God and more of who you are. Quit playing the field of dreams. Quit playing the Dharma, the drama, the soap operas of life, and sit back. Because there are those, and this site's full of spiritual beings, and they're everywhere. But you also have souls at all levels, and you have to understand that. You've got souls at every level, and this is also true on this site as well. And you have some souls that are still haven't awakened much out of this level of conformity. This is a very restricted flow of energy in this area. And now, obviously, when you look in the human body, we've developed so many obstructions to the flow of energy that we're all obstructed up, acidic, that sort of thing. My best advice to every single one of you, and on Facebook the same way, is keep it simple. I know Dimitri's saying something about the fruits and stuff now, and I don't know, what Dimitri's saying. I remember Chris showed me one of these letters, and maybe I can read it here. One just has to realize you find the best food you can. I can say that if you go to Costa Rica or you go to one of the Asian countries where you can get fresh fruit, you get down in the South, it's just a whole different feeling that it has on you. I just have to say that I'm not sure that man has the awareness to be a fruitarian at this point. I don't know. I haven't been able to do it. It is so vibrationally high. I think one of the real problems comes in with fruit in America, fruit in some of these countries that don't raise fruit, and we have to import some fruits. I mean, California is a good place for fruits, but I get California organic navel oranges, and they're little bitty things when true organic navel oranges should be this big. Just a big difference in that, and I don't understand what California is not doing right in terms of organic, but when you raise proper organic food, it is twice as big as the other ones, and it doesn't ferment near as quick. You can have an organic bananas versus non-organic bananas, and the organic bananas will last twice as long easy. So you have a propensity to deteriorate or ferment with these inferior fruits. And this is one of our really hard problems. And then Chris was saying some of you were having problems saying it isn't getting well on fruit. All I can say is that I learned years ago that fruits and your raw foods weren't enough at these advanced levels of human problems. The advanced levels of the decay of the human cell, the mutation of cells are just at an all-time high. And all I can say is that I've seen fruit diets turn around so many people and so many things, it's just not even funny. So there's no way, you can't lose that understanding of fruits and berries. And berries, don't forget your berries. That's where all the power is too. So if you can get good berries grown in the wild and good organic fruits, you've got a pretty good diet. If you do one salad a day, that's those that are not detoxing. There's a big difference, remember, between the period of detoxing and what you should be eating. You can just start eating a raw food diet and you're going to detox to a point. That's why you see this with vegetables. You'll see that your detoxification isn't long, short-lived, and a lot of times not even close to where you need to be to get your issues dealt with. So that's why we get into these higher vibrational foods, fruits and berries and melons in particular, fruits and berries in particular. The chemistry is more complete than any other food in the proper ratios for our blood, and, pHs and all this. These foods are perfectly balanced in chemistry. And the trouble is when we argue whether a berry is acidic before it's broken down into ashes and stuff like that, that's the mind. The mind chewing on things. And if I could give you any words of wisdom, get control of your mind, because things just doesn't matter that much. You know, some of you are suffering so bad you have to focus 100% and get your health cleaned up. There's no question about it. But there's others that don't have that intensity, and they can play a little bit more. But detoxification requires fruit or water and herbs. This is the other thing. For those that are not getting anywhere with the fruits, you've got to add the herbs to it. Because between the two, if you can't get anywhere with fruits and herbs, you're in deep trouble. And I'm serious about that. You're in deep trouble. And you got to do some interesting artwork, moving yourself through the world of detoxification, because there is no other remedy. Detoxification is nature's way of wellness. It's removing the chemistry you're putting in that's out of balance and that shouldn't be in there in the first place. It's how you get to the cell and resurrect the cell, because detoxification is of the fluids. And as you clean the fluids, the blowback to the cell is obvious, just like it is when you don't. So you have to understand the simplicity of this and not let the mind take you out too far. And this is true with Dimitri or any one of you guys. It's wild out there. But balance is far more important to arrive in terms of developing spiritually. And some of you raw foodists might end up having some cooked vegetables in the future only because you can't take the energy the raw food is giving you. So if you were living in a cave, you were living in a world of no responsibility, enjoy the buzz. Let it take you into worlds beyond and travel and have fun. But when you're taking on a lot of responsibility, you're setting yourself up a practice, you're starting to help people get well, a sense of balance is very important, because you serve no one well if you're not balanced and you're seeing clients. They need to see a balanced practitioner, one who is smart, one who knows what's causing all the problems. Doesn't mean you have to be this 10-year med school student, because they don't know crap. So it's being able to help somebody. That's the bottom line, is to be able to take someone from their position of illness or wherever they've taken their bodies into Hellville and bringing them out of that. That's the key. And simplicity is always better, because we get the clients that come back after they thought this was too simple or wasn't enough, so they went out into the wilderness and back they come because there's nothing out there. Excuse me, you're not going to get well on vitamins and minerals, amino acids, digestive enzymes, probiotics. That stuff's crap. Has nothing to do with nature's wellness programs or anything. That's man's attempt to treat his problems. And if you live in the world of treatment, there's just no remedy there, because you're totally off point, off focus, and there's no remedy. So by understanding the simplicity of how the body works in terms of having cells that need to be fed and need to be cleaned, just like an infant that you just brought home from the hospital. You've got to feed your babies and you've got to clean your babies, and both have to be done. Because if both is not done, serious results can happen. Because the elimination is an acidic event and consumption is a base event, in a simplistic way of thinking. When you eat fruits and berries, you're eating acid factors. There's phosphorus and manganese. There's acid factors in there. But it's balanced out with heavier alkalis, heavier electrolytes. And that keeps the pH of the blood and everything just the way it should be. This is why when you digest your food, you see the lipids going into the lymphatic capillaries as opposed to the blood capillaries. There's a reason why God has to separate this chemistry in digestion so that fluids aren't compromised in their viscosity, their ability to move through the body, and the blood's viscosity and the inability to clot. We don't want the blood to have clot, or the blood cells to cluster or follow each other like choo-choo trains. Those who've had live blood cell analysis will see their blood. And most people's blood is just so tainted with proteins that you get the gluey, sticky syndrome. Now you've got, and of course all the cooked foods with no enzymes. And so now what you have is blood that's sticky and clotty. And when you start eating your fruits and berries, all that changes. You don't need to take warfarin or any of these other type of blood thinners or whatever. Is to eat the proper pH of the foods to match the proper pH of the blood. Nature has to have that type of rhythm where things match, or you have things too out of sync, electrically or magnetically and chemically. And you can't have life when that's out of sync like that. So everything has to be in balance. But if we use our minds to try to interpret that balance, we get out of balance, because that balance is already achieved for us. We're just living the experience. So it's just skipping back and keeping your life simple and keeping health simple. I'll say one of the most important things that not only you healers, but individuals listening here should do is intuition. Start listening within instead of always talking and focusing outwardly. Women do it better than us men. So us men, we need to listen more within ourselves. And when we feel like the body's had enough fruit, go to vegetables or go to green drinks or do something like that. Or if we've had enough vegetables, go to fruit. Whatever it is, play with this, because some of you are so advanced in your weaknesses and in your acidosis that it's just going to take a little while to move you back into Wellville. And some of it isn't fun. But the end is, and toward the end is, once you get cleaned up in these lower realms, so to speak, you will be so much better off that you'll work into this. This is working out your karma. This is your karma you created. You have to realize that each and every one of you. That's why you're in the experience. Nothing happens here for nothing, for no reason. There's nothing. So everything is karma driven. Everything is cause and effect. Period. Simple. Physics. That's it. There's a cause for every effect. Medical doctors can play in the fields of dreams of diseases and crap like that. But cause and effect, and chemistry rules at this level, and magnetics rules chemistry. Physics, consciousness, energy. So it's just putting all this stuff and looking at all this stuff, kick back. Break off of this physicality type of mind control that's going on here, and see the sun and smell the flowers, and go after your health. It doesn't matter. One can argue, should you be a fruitarian, should you not? These are ridiculous little arguments that have no recourse, because it doesn't really matter. If you're moving to Wellville, you've got to detoxify. And to detoxify, you either have to do your fruits and berries and melons, or you have to do your waters. There is minimal detoxification with vegetables, and most of you already know this. So it's enough to say that that's all you have. That's all you have. There's nothing else out there. So you have to achieve your wellness through the tools that we have. And the tools are where we can find the fresh fruits. It is very difficult to find health and vitality out of a grocery store produce section. It's just really hard because everything's unripe and it's a mess. And if it's ripe, it's probably been sitting in there or back in the refrigerator for quite some time. That's the trouble. Sometimes, like pecans. Pecans are a good example. A lot of times you're buying a year or two back when you buy pecans. I mean, it's hard to get fresh anything unless you're out of this country. I know I got a lot of catching up to do, but we finally got out of the school. I had fun. I think most people had a lot of fun with that. It was a great class. I think we talked more spirituality than we did health, though, which wasn't my goal, but it seemed to be what we all were needing to do. But I thought it was a fun class. You know, nothing's perfect, and there's just so much out there to learn, but yet there's not. So you just have to, the learning process is when you start working on clients. Keep the knowledge simple, because you're going to have people that are just difficult. They're difficult because their kidneys are shut down, and that's shut down because of their adrenals. People, remember, this is emotional karma here too. This is obvious. Emotional karma is a big deal, and that rules the adrenal glands. You can come in here from a past life or from another place and have brought with you your past experiences, of course. Especially if you're still in the lower worlds here, you've got a mind, you got the causal body. It's always going to carry your images from your past lives. And you can see those, by the way, when you get to the causal body and see the Akashic records, they're called. You can see them for yourself. It's better when you see these things for yourself, because then you don't have to worry about believing, because you already experienced. And that's, I find, much better than believing. Belief systems have created wars and heads being cut off of people, both from all sides, not just from the ISIS people and all that. Everybody, Christians that did it back in the Inquisitions. I mean, this is just the nature of this warring planet. This warring planet has to have a boot up now. And I think that's really why every one of you we're all coming together as one big, powerful unit. To keep us together, we must keep like-minded, or we'll radically spin off in different groups. And that's not good, because we want to build a consistent, powerful message that is full of truth and love and life, because people have lost their happiness. So keeping our group together and making it grow huge is becoming like-minded and keeping things simple, because complexity has just been man's problem. He thinks the answer is in intellectualism, knowledge, and in complexity. That is further from the truth. That's the illusion that keeps man lost. Simplicity is the pullback and the ability to see beyond thought and mind. So it is vital to learn how to do that. And how to do that is simply practice living in the moment. You can say to yourself, be here now, be here now, be here now. And practice stop thinking. Practice observing first. Practice just watching things. And after a while, pull back from watching. You don't need to watch everything. You can see everything going on. When you pull back to the present moment and you're just the observer and you're not focusing in on anything, you can see everything. When you're focusing in, your ability to see goes right down to where that thought is. And then you miss everything around. Once you learn how to keep your consciousness around and still let the mind think and pick that up, okay, thanks. Keep that mind separate. Everything will be good. All right, so let's try to read some of these. This one, this is Paul Cosby. Dr. Morris or his staff apparently cherry picks. Well, that's an insult right off. You don't know that, and to make a statement like that's rude to you. And rude to me, too. I don't cherry pick a thing. I've told you that before, and if you're calling me a liar, I'm insulted, and I don't care for that. I don't cherry pick any of these. Once in a while, I have a few minutes to sit here and kind of read a couple on the top. But mostly, I don't cherry pick nothing. I don't have a chance to. I'm so busy. So the first of the year, I'm not going to see anybody anymore. I'm cutting down so I can take care of you guys better. So don't insult me with stuff like that. I don't cherry pick nothing. And if you think that that's the kind of nature I'm in, you're on the wrong site, because that's not who I am. I'm a God man. I totally speak the truth, and that's how I live. Period. End of story. Nothing else there. There's nothing else to dig up, nothing else to find, because that's who I am. That's who I've been all my life here on this planet. And my goal is to help those to raise up. So I apologize if I don't get to your questions, but that's why I say re-up, because there's just so many questions here that it's hard for me to grab time enough to go through them. So first of the year, I'm dedicating my whole time here to you guys, at least most of it. I've got to write a book. I got about 4 or 5 of them, like I said, sitting there half written, and I want to finish writing them. More good information for you guys. The question that Dr. Morse addresses on YouTube, also, it's disappointing when the disclaimer says someone will get back to you via email, if not on YouTube, and they simply don't respond, or he refers to you as Facebook people. I don't know. We have a lot of Facebook people, Paul, on this site. We have Facebook sites that are dedicated to helping you, and where you find more people, where you can talk more than the YouTube sites. I don't know what you're driving here. If that's the case, then let people know officially where the hell to post. If there's something about my posting questions that you don't like, Paul, it's not about that, man. It's just about me being able to get to these. I've already got several stacks on the floor, and this is new. This is new, Paul. And it's very difficult to sit here and talk to you and answer all these at the level you need. That's like giving you an appointment, and I can't spend that much time, because then I don't get to anybody, and that's the problem. So what I'm hoping is that there's a lot of, for example, acne. There's so many people with acne, it's not even funny. Well, I've done how many videos on acne? And I don't go through here and we separate. They've asked me if they want me to separate the acnes and the cancers and all of this. But then we would end up with that problem. So I just try to get them as they come. And there's some old ones that I just say re-up. If there's an important question, Paul, you have, and it's not getting to it on Facebook or YouTube, call the friggin' clinic. And if you get someone that says they're going to email you back and they don't, we'd like to know about it. And we'll take care of that ourselves, because we're trying our best. We've got tens of thousands of people calling in here, and we're just doing our best, Paul. So hang in there. But don't ever think I'm cherry picking, because that's an insult to me, and I don't particularly care for it. And here's the Great Deceiver 55. What? Eyes are unbelievably beautiful. The pupil is like a black hole abyss surrounding by a sparkling jewel. Wow, I love how you said that. That's true, too. You know, and what is in that dark abyss? Oh, the retina, and then you can see the images of life, so to speak. How interesting is it that we're getting a blow back from inside and then outside? How interesting is this, that every angle is covered, at least as much as we can even perceive, you know. So it's like, man, to have a creator, to have that a level of, I mean, it's just, and this is a nothing planet compared to what you can experience. It's like, holy crap. Woo! But beautifully said. With that said, however, Iridology makes about as much sense as diagnosing illness by looking at the changes in people's fingerprints. Well, I guess you could. I don't know. The entire foundation of the currently existing technology of iris identification used in thousands of high-security facilities is based upon the notion that irises do not change. Isn't that funny? But how untrue. We have so many befores and afters here. I mean, if anybody denies that, then obviously you have your head up your butt. because we proved that over and over. Jensen changed eyes. He proved that. We have plenty of people proving all this out there. So, it's just a lack of understanding of there. Of course, you can change your fingerprints, right? You can just cut off your fingers, yeah. So I don't know. The past year after birth. These are technologies currently in use. So what is more reasonable to assume? Let me see. Technologies in, where do we have soft tissue technology at? We don't. We've had enough, there's enough evidence in iridology to prove everything we say, and we nail it just about every time on point, on time, right in the right place. So, I don't know, it's sometimes we believe in like these scanners and crap like this and stuff like this. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You can't see through radiation, and then you have radiation in your body. There's always, it seems like when there's a tool that we have medically to look at something, which I like tools. I'm an old carpenter, so I like tools. But they seem to be toxic to us. They seem to invade or damage the cell. So I like the new digital stuff. And everything has its limitation in what it can see and can't see, including iridology. But if you want to disclaim it, you disclaim it all you want. I love it. And I've proved it for 40-some years now. I teach it, and I love it. So whatever you want. I don't care. I can't control what you believe and not believe. But I can say this. Don't try to disbelieve too many things, because then you'll miss out on life, And when you believe too many things, let's see, or biometric iris scanners are real and iridology is fake. One is unapproved, only has it, this approval shit, and this, is it, medically accepted now? That makes me want to throw up when someone brings something up like that. You're talking about the top killing machine of the human race. Over a million, I'm going to say probably safely 1.5 million to 2 million people worldwide, if not 4 or 5 million, are killed by the medical community, and you have the balls to say something like that? That's the type of problem that we have out there. A belief in our scientific community that's invalid. We have a false sense of belief in our scientific community, and for those that do, enjoy your ride, because a lot of people are dying and suffering from that. We've toxified our planet from that. We've killed each other by the millions with that, and that's per year. So how many years have we been dealing with allopathic thinking and pharmaceuticals? So how many people have died from that? And then compare that to how many deaths naturopathically worldwide, which I don't think there's any. So when you start saying things like that, it's disturbing. And it's also disturbing when we use these technologies to help people get well. And I tell you, if you're not familiar with something, then you can't tear it down. You have to use something and practice it and say, this isn't worth it. I've tried it. It's not good. I've studied it. It doesn't work. Boom. But people make judgment calls before they even do things like that. And that's a type of problem that your mind is involved with you. And this is the type of problem with you guys where the mind is keeping you from enjoying life and beauty and greater things. You think science has all the answers, and science has very little answers if you hadn't noticed. And science is ever changing their mind. Notice? Yeah, exactly. So, when you say things like that, it gets ridiculous, because this science has been used. Yes, there's a lot of people using it, don't know what they're talking about. That's for sure. And it's true in the medical community, too. You see these sort of ridiculous things from scans and stuff. So everybody has problems with science in certain levels, but the true science here is nature. That's always been, it's always there. We know enough about chemistry, we know enough about physics to have a far greater understanding of how nature works. But when we leave what we understand to be true, and then we interject theories, then you're leaving the planet. And then we have a lot of machines based upon theories. So I don't know. I don't know what you're getting at, and I don't know. Is this a day for crap like this? I am glad you like my craps. Thank you very, very much. I will try to send some more soon. I just wanted to show my appreciation for all the free education. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. And what's this? Oh, soaps. Man, I love those soaps. Those are nice. You make vanilla. I love vanilla soaps, patchouli, that's nice, patchouli soaps. Nagchampra soaps, good soaps. I'm trying to talk them into carrying your soap or some soaps that are handmade, because I like our club to be a source for all homemade stuff by those that appreciate higher quality stuff. Because that's what we're about. We want higher quality people. We're not ignorant people because we're saying that the more educated, the ignorant, because that's just what's out there. We are those people that are realistic. We are those God people that are speak the truth, and people have a hard time with that sometimes. Have a real hard time with truth on this planet. Too bad, because it's coming, and there's a big dose coming down the line here real soon. I don't know what to tell you. It's not coming from anybody but the guy who created this area. So yeah, appreciate the soap, sweetie. This is so good. Everybody's going, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know. You might get a hold of Brenda or someone talk about the soaps, because I wouldn't mind having a nice site where people can get access to your products and stuff. Good stuff. Let me see here. I am a 37-year-old female with a seriously overactive libido. Wow. It vanished during illness, but now that I'm recovering, it's coming back with a vengeance. Is there something I can do to calm it down? I'm feeling like desperate. Wow. Wow. Well, I'll have to say this. Rare that I get a question like that. Some people would like that, but I can say this. You know, overstimulation everywhere is probable. And acids at different levels act as stimulants. And so you can have hyperactivity there. So I would say, for me, detoxification would be the only antidote for that, because you don't want to get and suppress anything. You know, you don't want to suppress your estrogens or testosterones or anything like that. You want to bring everything into balance. Well, bringing things into balance is eating balanced chemistry. Well, to understand what balanced chemistry is for the human is to understand your species, your vertebrae. What are you, an omnivore? Are you a herbivore? Are you a frugivore? Or are you a carnivore? Which one are you? How do you fit in? How do you determine all that? Which we already have done that, obviously, on this site. Some of you beautiful people have made the teeth things, and I've got hands and hooves and paws coming and things like this to show you it's obvious. You look at the human naked. We don't do well in cold climates. We don't have any fur, any hair. We do well in tropical climates. We can get under in the forest and cool off. But to warm up for a human with no hair or fur, bare naked, tough. Got to kill an animal, wrap a fur around us, right? So that's been the problem. And so, but it's the way it's designed. This whole planet, everything is designed the way it is. Because remember, this is touch and go. You pilots out there, this is a touch and go planet. And you're here and you have some drama and you're off. However, some souls are always coming back and back and back until they get it right. That's why I'm saying let go of your intellectualisms, because it only makes you look stupid, like the guy that asked me about iridology and stuff like that. These sort of things only make people that don't understand them, that knock them, look stupid. Because for us that use it and appreciate those who found it, by the way, it was a surgeon that discovered it, we love it. So it's just that sort of thing, you know. When I look in the medical community, I like machines and I like things like that to a point. But it can't have a toxic blowback to you. It just can't do it. You don't need that. The simplicity of all this is that you don't need healing machines. You don't even need the iris work to get well. That's the simplicity of it. For a practitioner, having the iris is a great look lymphatically and soft tissue. No other scan can do that. I mean, you can do thermography, which is a great look at acidosis. So when you add some of these other scans to all of this, yeah, you've got a nice picture of your client. It's easy to determine, and if you didn't even have any of those, for those that are just flying by the seat of your pants, how interesting is you can cure anything out there you want just by detoxing people and understanding how to detoxify people. If you knew nothing about the human body, just that you needed to eat fruits and the berries and stuff like that, and understand how you detox and the difference between vegetables, and understand that, you could outdo any medical doctor out there almost. And I'm not being negative to all medical doctors, because there's some really good ones and some that are doing this that are healing people like crazy. But then there's those that are not. There's those that are contributing to the over 1 million people death every year, and that has to stop. There's nothing that makes that okay. There's nothing. And those people that use the fancy machines that are involved in this killing machine, there's nothing that makes that okay. Nothing. Because it's not needed. We're not in a world fighting diseases. If you think that, you're lost. And you will end up probably dying from the care that you're going through. Because as one Fox News anchor person said, they're dying from the treatments of, not the problems. All right. So I would detoxify, sweetheart. I would detoxify, get deep in there, get the female reproductive formula and see if that'll bring some balance to the female areas. You might want to douche with some Heal tea, clean that vaginal area. That'll get into the local tissue there and start getting some healing going. And start getting this acidosis out of you, and that'll bring your libido into balance. I know, that's a problem a lot of us have, is that one. But you know, like I say, getting the glands healthy, getting the body healthy brings everything into balance. So that's the direction I would go in, is getting my adrenals healthy, my kidneys filtering lymphatically, get my system. Look at your eyes. Take a look, get a picture of your eyes, and take a look at the female areas, take a look at the adrenals, take a look at all these different areas of the body and see where you need to work on. That's the beauty of having herbs, because we can use herbs for those areas. Dear Dr. Morris, I recently went to the Facebook group and saw a post regarding fruit. The girl who posted it said that she is not getting well after long-term fruit eating. One contributor, Dimitri, stated that eating only fruit was for cleansing purposes only. Well, Dimitri, this is true, but not really. I mean, we could, but you know, you want to have at least a 50-50 diet like that, at least. Me, I have at least probably 75% fruit, 25% veggies. I just have to have predominance of fruit. But in a non-detoxification scenario, in a world like this with a lot of responsibility, I eat my salads too. And I do have some steamed vegetables at times too. And that long-term was not maintainable because health would go down eating just fruit because it weakens HCl, which he states is extremely critical for the survival of the physical body. Well, you see, this is part of the problem, Dimitri, and this is part of, you know, picking up things like this. Hydrochloric acid is always going to be there unless you destroy your stomach tissue. And fruit has amino acids in it. And if you look at long-term use of fruit, you're going to go to the orangutans. And all I can say is nobody messes with them, even the babies. And they're pretty strong. So it doesn't fruit doesn't destroy hydrochloric acid whatsoever. None of that kind of crap, Dimitri, at all. You don't need the level of hydrochloric acid that you need for say a dead animal, but then that's why these studies have shown that eating dead animals is a huge contributor to colon cancer. No, I didn't create the studies, and a couple of years ago it was a 30-year study. So all I can say is the evidence is already there, and this isn't true with hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, big deal. I mean, it's how you get your aminos, but you already have your aminos, so it's not like you're breaking down protein structures. I don't find that an accurate statement myself. Okay, that's just me. He says that without greens, you won't get minerals, and eventually all the body functions would shut down. Well, I disagree, because you don't see that in nature. For those species that are designed closest to us, which are the primates, you don't see that. You see them maintaining all fruits, like the orangutans and some of them. But again, primates are in different locations. And so some of them, I saw this one group of lower level primates stuck on an island where they can only eat whatever tender leaves. I think there was some fruit, but they were eating clams off the side of the rocks because there was very little food. And that's what's happened to man too. You know, so now that we've been through all that crap in history, we can come back and start growing or building pyramid greenhouses and start changing the nature, understanding what we need. I'll say this, the only place you could live on a fruit diet exclusively would have to be in the tropics somewhere, no question, or an Asian country somewhere, because that's the only place that you can get good fruit that's sustainable to health. You couldn't be a fruitarian on the fruit in America. You couldn't do it because Dimitri would be right then. It's just so devoid of everything. But it isn't the minerals that man needs as much. So I don't know where that's coming in at. Salts are where man's is, not minerals. Your plants are more in minerals. We've got this mineral fixation, and some of you guys got to get out of that. Don't get trapped in that mineral fixation, because you can take heavy minerals. It'll spawn stimulation, but it won't spawn wellness. And you got to be careful. The electrical charge of minerals are so low. All foods have the basic elements in them for sure. And when you have, like we were talking about in the last video or so, we are friends with a 3-doctorate professor in Canada. I have to say that I'm going to believe him before I believe other people that just have ideas out there like minerals, and you have to have all these minerals, and same people you have to have digestive enzymes, the same people you have to have probiotics and stuff like that. Don't get lost. But I have no problems eating salads or green drinks, but not for this reason. Okay. He says that long-term fruit fasts are not good and that they will cause more problems than they fix. He says to eat mostly greens and herbs for the minerals and nutritional content. Dimitri, are you losing your way? And stay away from the extremes of fruit eating. Apparently, if you eat fruit, you lose stomach acid that you need, is what he seems to be saying, which is stupid. Totally stupid. One lady commented on this, saying that after 1.5 years of fruit, she developed parasites and infections, so she switched back to mostly vegetables. You see, this is where you guys have to stop and not get trapped in this, because Dimitri's gotten trapped in this and he's pulling others in with him. And you can't do that, because what you're going to see on this site is people are going to go into these crazy ideas that's already been circulating for years, Dimitri. This whole thing about minerals and stuff, Dimitri, has been out since I've been in. It's 40-some years. So you're new on the block, but I can just say this has been out there. And some people believe you need tons and tons of minerals. Those people never got anybody super well either. So I don't see that. And you don't develop parasites from fruit over vegetables or anybody else. That's insane. I mean, it might pull them out of you, because most fruit are antiparasitics, if you hadn't noticed. You go into fruit and you got worms are in you, it'll start coming out of you, because that's what they do. Worms do not like fruits. They're antiparasitics, and a lot of the greens are too. So one can go on a raw food diet and start kicking out the worms and stuff out of them, but to say that fruit causes parasites is a little bit ridiculous. And you just can't be careful about others falling down a hole and pulling you in with them. You just have to be careful with that. This is a detoxification site. If you choose to eat that after you do that, I don't care. Your body will tell you just what you need, and it'll tell you how to eat. But to get well, you can't go to the greens and the minerals, because that's not the way you detoxify, Dimitri, and you have to detoxify, my dear man. You know that. So don't get trapped. Sounds like you're being pulled down that hole of minerals again. It's a classic hole there. And infections. Fruit doesn't cause infections. It pulls it out of you. And that's what the mistake of some people. This girl didn't know what she was doing, so she saw the fruit causing infection. It wasn't. It was pulling it out of you. Fruits, are you crazy? Where does people come up with stupid things like that? That's insane. I don't even know where these statements are coming from. He then went on to state that you are very knowledgeable in health, but that you should listen to what we are experiencing over what you say. Dimitri, I am listening, my friend. Don't get me mad. I am listening to you. I listen to every one of you, what you're saying. But you're not listening to me either. So all I have to tell you is don't get trapped in that. You're trapped in heavy minerals and stuff, and you just, go that way. It's fine with me. But when you're detoxifying, that's not the road you have to go to get there. So you can do whatever you want with that. But you have to detoxify to get there. And you do well know that, Dimitri. So I am listening to you guys quite well. I'm not deaf. But you aren't listening to me. I've had 43 years of this. You've only had a couple of years, Dimitri. I've had 43 of working on people from all around the world. So don't, you're not telling me anything I don't know. Does that mean if I'm experiencing no progress in my health that what you say is not true? Interesting. Dr. Morris, I am so utterly confused. Don't be. This is what happens. These are the dark holes I've been warning you guys about. David Wolf fell in one himself. Mr. Raw, Mr. Avocado, same thing, big time, Fit for Life, Harvey Diamond fell in a hole himself, a big one. You got to be careful. because these holes are all over the place. And there's people out there that sells this concept of heavy minerals and stuff like that. That is not what we are. We're not a species that consumes those kind of foods. We're not designed that way. And don't forget those simple facts and truths that are out there. Yes, we have a bad state of foods, and that includes vegetables. So I don't know what to tell you about that side of that. That obviously has to change. But when you go into the tropics, you can live quite a while. The problem is, and I'm going to tell you this too, something that I've talked about but some of you forget, is that I also work with islanders all over the place. And I have islanders that were raised completely on fruits. And they're well in their 90s and 100s, remember that? So what are you going to say to them, Dimitri? See, that's the point, is that you just don't, you have to understand that there's these dark holes of the mind, and you get lost in them. And it sounds like, Dimitri, you got lost in one. You have to be careful. You got to strike a sense of balance, because if you get rid of the fruits and go to the vegetables, it'll change your consciousness, it'll pull you down a little bit. I mean, you might need that for balance, because you went way out. And so, yeah, you might need to come back and balance with vegetables. But if that's what you're planning, you'll see the difference, Dimitri. But I am in serious health, and I want to fix the problem. And I don't want you to, anybody on our Facebook sites and stuff that starts pulling other people in the hole, get off. Because you got a lot of seriously sick people here that want to get well. And I'm serious about what I do. Very serious. That's why I give all you guys this. I teach you all. I do everything way beyond the call of duty to get you guys up and running and in your own businesses and helping people around the world. And I will not feather from that focus. So for the Dimitris and that, you might need to go and take a hike somewhere for a while and play in the fields of dreams somewhere on your minerals and stuff like that. Because you're confusing people and pulling people down. I don't appreciate that. And that doesn't serve anybody well, because this is a site of wellness and happiness. And if you don't like what we're saying, go somewhere else, because I don't care. This is about people like this, Sarah, who's sick and wants to get well. And Sarah, these people don't have any years of experience, sweetheart. They get trapped in some of these ideologies out there, the paleo diet, which isn't even true. So all these different ideas and concepts are out there. And sometimes people just can't hang in there. But I admit that fruit's a tough way to go, because it's such a high frequency and energy. The problem, of course, is getting it. But tens of thousands all around the world have got their health back from the fruits. So I don't appreciate this sort of thing on my site here with this, Dimitri, with the minerals, because I am not unaware by any stretch of your imagination. But I am not questioning what that healthy diet is that my body can live on, and how in the world I'm going to get healthy when all of these people are not. Please help, Doc. People are getting well, honey. If you got maybe one or two out there that not follows the program, half-asses, or that are in very serious trouble, and it's going to take a while to get them back. But check all the people that are walking, that were in chairs, and all the people that were in bedridden are now walking. I think you'll find just the opposite. But this is what I've been warning you guys about. And Dimitri, you're the one that fell. And amazing that you did. You know, you believed in someone else. And that's all I can tell you. I don't know what to tell you. When fruit doesn't work. Hey, Dr. Morse, I'm asking this question on behalf of someone on the Facebook group. This lady has been on fruits and some herbs for over 2 years now, to the point where she is so sick of fruit she doesn't want, and that's possible. You know, you could get that way sometimes. I found the opposite, but you know, you can burn out on certain direction, especially there's not that many varieties in some places, you know, and you can get burnt out on the same fruit. There's no question about it. Me, I reprogram myself. I don't need to have a horizon of foods to make my palate happy. I'm quite happy eating a very few select foods that are ripe and fresh and organic. I'm quite happy with that. My body likes that sort of redundancy. You know, sometimes when you eat outside of that, your body doesn't like that. It gets used to certain things. Everything's habitual here, of course. So that sort of thing. I have to say, if there's one person or two out there out of all of us that are having a hard time, then call the clinic and get one of us to help you. Because there's a point where if you can't get it on your own, you need our advice. We're the practitioners. We've been doing this. I've been doing this all my life. So if you need help, you don't get someone that is not stable in their thinking, that jumps from one thing to another. I mean, you can't be pulled down in dark holes, guys. You have to understand what the truth is, and then understand, you know, contributing factors of the good and the bad of that, and then break that down. But if there's someone out there that's been doing this for 2 years that hasn't got their health back, there's some real serious reasons why. You need to call us, set up an appointment with Marcy or Jen, and let us take a look at your case, because most of the cases are the opposite. You have 1 or 2 cases and everybody freaks out. Give me a break. I mean, that's just I don't know what to say about it. You know, I have the same thing in here. I've got people that just can't do the program here, and they don't come back. Well, I can't help that, and neither can you. They'll be back, and most of them come back, especially if they just try it for a few weeks or a month. They know. I just had another person come back, was gone for years, and go, my God, I didn't realize how well I was getting. And that's the problem. So be careful here. I don't know why today's turning out in this sort of way, because this is a beautiful site, and I hate to see this sort of controversy on there. But it's enough to say I've been warning a long time about this, and this is the mind, Dimitri. You be careful with this. And I don't want you on here pulling people away that are working to get themselves wellness. You don't serve any purpose doing that. And you get so lost yourself, man, you'll get yourself back in trouble again. And I know your eyes, and I know what you're doing, so you can't fool me. But it's enough to say, guys, there's always going to be 1 or 2 that struggle. There's going to be 1 or 2 that say they do the program that's not doing the program, blah, 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 blah. Not being negative to anybody, but this is what we run into here day in and day out. I see people day in and day out for 40-some years. I've taught thousands of classes, and all I can tell you is that truth is truth, and this is how we get people well, and we keep people well every day, all around the world, and thousands of them. If you got 1 or 2 that doesn't, excuse me, you see what I'm saying? You guys got to get strong with this, and get strong with your knowledge and awareness, because there's a lot of belief systems out there that can pull you away. That's why the AMA looks at us and laughs, because there's Joe Blow over here pushing minerals, Joe Blow over here pushing digestive enzymes, Joe Blow over here doing detoxification. You know what I'm saying? It's all levels. So over here drinking urine, over here eating placentas, over here doing these things. What do you think an intellectual community would look at us and think? That's why it's important that we bond, we're strong, we're like-minded, and that we kick butt. And that's what we do in healing. Get off of the point. There's no question I'm open to changing. And why, Dimitri, that statement is ridiculous that you made on that I'm not open to listening to you. That's insult to me. What happened to you, man? You lost your consciousness or something? That's not true. That's not true. I'm very aware. And all you know that I talk about pulling back, adding vegetables and vegetable juices if you have to, if fruit is too strong. You see that. So these comments are shocking to me, Dimitri, that you would make those. I don't understand where that's coming from, except you just fell into a hole, and you're not careful, you'll lose your way. And I'll pull you back out, but I'm going to tell you that there's a lot of holes out there, and be careful. There's a lot of misconceptions and things like this. You can pound your body full of minerals. You're not going to like it after a while. You can feel a little better pounding minerals, and you can't get to Wellville. If you don't remove acidosis, get your kidneys filtering, and do everything we're talking about, you're not going anywhere. Period. End of story. And no one does. You might feel a little better pounding something. It doesn't last long. And a lot of you have already done that. A lot of you have already been through the mineral side of this constantly. A lot of you are already taking minerals. No. No. Very important here. Now let's see. Complicated health case. Well, let's read this one, because I have been watching YouTube videos nonstop for the past few days and wanted to reach out to you about my interesting health issues. All right, let's see what's going on here. All began after starting a very stressful job. I was having fight or flight response multiple times a day. So you were really working your adrenal glands pretty bad there, weren't you? And so you were probably shutting down your kidneys a little bit, because you were using your adrenalines or epinephrines to keep yourself, dealing with the stress. And of course, that's shutting down the ability of the kidneys to filter and the stooling and things like that. And so sometimes when you're stressed like that, you start to see swellings come up in the body, tumors or swellings start to happen. That's because that's immediately you shut down your kidneys. Immediately your adrenals are going down. And that would cause that flight or fight syndrome. And because he has an introvert nature. Well, if you have an introvert nature, that means, because I kind of have one, believe this or not, let me tell you, I have forced myself in all my years to do this. I forced myself to do these videos. I forced myself to see it because I'm an introvert too. My adrenals, I have adrenals. I'd rather go live in a cave, because then you don't have the Dimitris that go in and out and say things, and you know, this whole thing that tears and tears and tears at you when you got so many sick people you're working on. It just doesn't serve anybody well. But that's the human consciousness, and after a while, for those that understand, that's why we go to caves. We get away from humans. We go to caves to get, and we go to the woods to get around our plants and stuff, because there's no judgments. They don't judge, and they're fully open and loving. And I mean, they have their own attitudes, I'll tell you that, in plants. If you guys are those that are plant lovers, know. Plants also are individual. But I'm introvert too, and that's the adrenals. So yeah, it is stressful to walk outside of that, definitely. And that means your adrenals were already down a little bit, and then of course the stress of doing all that. All the following symptoms have developed over the past 18 months up to where I am today. Routine blood tests for health insurance once I began work. Liver numbers came back 10 times the normal range, as well as higher calcium levels. Okay, I don't like that. So if your liver enzymes are elevated, your AST and ALT, look at your alkaline phosphatases too. Get on that liver gallbladder formula. At the same time, remember, your adrenals are sitting on top of those kidneys, and those kidneys need to filter that lymph. And that, when you see the liver enzymes go up, your acidosis is going up, and there's a little chewing going on in the liver, a little burning going on. So that means that the lymph system in the liver isn't filtering. Well, that also could lead you then to your bowel wall, and then into the kidneys and all that. So you might want to get a picture of your eyes and take a look at all that to see what you see lymphatically, and especially in the bowel wall, because that's suggesting malabsorption, of course. So, yeah, you want to get that down there 10 times. So you really want your ALT and AST somewhere between 15 and 20. You don't really want it higher than 20, although the labs are somewhere in the 30s on that. No, you really, a good healthy person, a good liver function, good lymph, you're going to be around 15 AST, ALTs. You know, and you want about 30 to 50 alkaline phosphatases, realistically, even about 99 is normal, but still. You know, having your norms within the lower ranges are always better, unless you're dealing in the reds and the white blood cells and things like that. The higher calcium levels, you want to check on this, because I would look at my parathyroid gland, make sure that you're utilizing calcium properly, make sure you're not on any calcium supplements or anything like that, because this could lead into arthritis. This also could give you an indication that you have a lot of acidosis or inflammation in the body, and therefore you're seeing the withdrawal of calcium. So I'd be looking at the parathyroid, thyroid. I'd be looking, I'm definitely going to be detoxifying, because the liver enzymes are telling me that my lymph system's backed up and I've got acidosis. At that time, I was having upper gastric pain and lots of acid reflux. Yeah, absolutely. And see, that's all acid. So you are very acid in that case. These are the cases where you don't want to do any protein, because that hydrochloric acid's burning you back there. Either you have low bicarbonate, you're consuming protein, which is too coarse for man. So there's that hydrochloric acid thing again. You want low normal hydrochloric acids in the body. And hydrochloric acid isn't something you want a lot of. Also my stool was all over the place on the color, shape. Oh wow, yellow, green, brown. Well, it sounds like you were having gallbladder liver spasms or something. You know, you can have gallbladder spasms from the stones or something, or just say, you know, the wall having acidosis in it, interstitial. You know, and you could get bile, no bile, you know, that sort of thing. So you could get your white poops, without any heme in it, and that sort of thing. Had an endoscopy that showed possible gastritis. Well, you know, if in the wall of your liver is inflamed like that, you know your stomach is too, you know the pancreas is too, branches of the tree, you know, that sort of thing. And I began taking Zantac and Nexium. I regret entirely. Yeah, the problem with those, you know, is suppression city. And it's like an ulcer. You feed an ulcer, but it'll just come back to bite you real bad in terms of becoming cancerous. So, yeah, I began to develop heart palpitations and chest pain, which have become more frequent over time. Oh, man, I don't like any of that. I am now afraid to exercise regularly due to my heart racing at random times. So it's racing. So this acid reflux has gone right up into the thyroid and parathyroid and hyperstimulating your thyroid a little bit to give your heart racing, unless it's coming from your stomach and it's a neural and the thyroid isn't impacted. Probably rare, because the nerve feeding is all going to the stomach as well. Remember, the stomach is kind of the seat of the autonomic brain. So that means that if you have gastritis, which is real probable because of the liver enzymes and things, then you're going to be affecting the autonomic nervous system to the heart, to the lungs, and everywhere else. So not only could you get heart racing, you could get palpitations, you could also get shortness of breath. With that said, you also want to check out that thyroid. Now, let's stop right here. How do you stop hyperactivity? And there's only one way to stop hyperactivity, in my opinion, to get a remedy to it. And that is to detoxify. Get your kidneys filtering, get your adrenals up, get your neurotransmitters up and your steroids up. Start cooling down that stomach. Start drinking Hilal tea, 3-lung tea, anything like that. You get comfrey out there. You can get slippery elm, marshmallow. Go to get some aloe vera. If you want the fresh, get your fresh plants, cut your leaves, scrape them and go down. Or get you some high-quality aloe vera gel or juice in health food stores, or we have that. And start taking that and start getting that out. But remember, this is the lymphatic system interstitially. So you've got two things hitting. You got acidosis interstitially, and then when you invoke hydrochloric acid, you got two burns, and nothing ever happens well. It's like chemo on top of already inflammation or acidosis. That's double the burn, but one is so much harder that trumps it. So yeah, this is important that you fix this. But cool off this stomach. What's your name anyway? Seth. Pull off your stomach, Seth. Cool it down. If you have to, do some green drinks, or I would do the subacid. This is a case where you wouldn't do acid fruits. You wouldn't do acid fruits, and that I could do the subacid or sweet fruits. You could do your green drinks to help cool things down a little bit. I would stay away from digesting right now too much. I'd keep it real simple. Go to applesauces and stuff like that. Make yourself fresh applesauce and put a little cinnamon in it. That'll cool down the stomach, of course. It'll give you some enzymes. The cinnamon will settle the stomach down and everything. Remember, this is a lymphatic issue. And it's working its way right up into what? Your head, Seth. So be careful. Get your kidneys filtering and get everything moving. I am now, okay, let me see here. Soon after I began to get panic attacks, once I began taking a niacin, prescribed by an alternative practice for possible yeast. Niacin for yeast. I don't know what this other thing is. My mother knows a lot about herbs and supplements. Good mom. So I began to take milk thistle and dandelion root. Good mom. Yep. Liver DTX, Shackley, and my upper gastric pain subsided. You see how beautiful herbs are? I just love them. That'll be the next thing. Someone will come up and say how bad herbs are. I mean, this is the thing you got to protect yourself, guys, from. That's why I'm saying, for the spiritual guys, you must be strong, not to fall to the mind, because the mind is going to work on every one of you guys. That's what I'm saying to you. It's what I've been saying to you right here. And today, reading these is a good example of what's going on with the mind. And that's, Dimitri, you're falling in with the mind again. And you got to be careful with that, because it'll suck you in and chew you up if you're not careful. What you thought you knew, you suddenly lost. Your ability to help others, you suddenly lose. I've seen this time and time again. I watch it with David Wolf. I watched it with a lot of these people that thought they were so good, so great, so focused. They fell. And that's the thing. The mind will do it to you every time if you're not careful. Because there's a lot of research papers that sound real good. There's a lot of theories that sound real good. There's a lot of health people out there that sound real good. But in actual practice and working on humans and getting people that are in advanced stages of decay into Wellville, there are very few people doing that around the world, if you haven't noticed. And you guys have been doing incredible. I'm so proud of you guys every way. You're incredible about that. but you have to protect yourselves. The negative forces are strong, and they're going to be biting your heels because you decided to channel the positive, the love, the simplicity, the understanding of life. You think the negative forces want you to get that out there? No, this is the game that's played here. Obviously, look around. When you do something positive, something negative is right there with it. So just remember, this is the game here, the duality. And so this is why I hate it here. It's just that's so abrupt here. As you get into the higher, finer worlds, you don't see the abruptness of duality as you do here. And it can be abrupt here. Subsided. Around the same time, my urine began to lose its yellow color and became clear. Also, I began to have fairly bubbly urine, bacteria test, negative, and kidney levels around 6 to 7. That's a good place to be. You want to be between 6 and 7. You start getting too alkaline in your urine, you know you're losing your electrolytes, and your acids aren't being broken down by bacteria and removed out of the body. So if your acids from the cells are not being removed, if your cellular wastes, which are acids, are not being removed, where are they going? Nowhere. They're building up. And when that builds up, you start feeling stiff, tight, sore, and after a while pain, and after a while all your extremities and your joints start mutating. And it just keeps going and going and going until you're full of pain, until you're dead. That's why it's so important to understand how you detoxify, and fruits are a key component to detoxification. I don't care who you are. And if you don't, if you're not with that, I don't know what to tell you. Go someone that detoxifies with vegetables. You'll be back. Let me see. My eyes began to develop a blue-gray ring around my iris. During this time and several months after I developed a large increase in eye floaters, my energy levels began to fall and went out of the country for my honeymoon. I came back and even more fatigue. What was your honeymoon? And had a comprehensive stool analysis performed showing significant diboses. Oh, you got all kinds of stuff here. As well as really high lysozymes, 740, lactoferrins, 531. I was also experiencing burning and tingling in my feet, burning in my left hand. Wow. Well, this is the seat of the autonomic. And it sounds like you're on fire, my friend. You're on fire, Seth. And that you're feeling it in your nerve endings. Your nerve endings in your feet and your hands, remember? Woo! So you're burning on those nerve endings. That means you're burning probably in the gut. Just what you're seeing is true. Well, that's resonating to the heart. That's not good. Resonating to the lungs. And, my friend, resonating up into the brain. Yeah, I don't like any of this that you're going through. But very, very common stuff. Let me see. Where am I here? And burning in my left hand. This went away after additional supplementation with omegas. Now listen to this. He supplemented with omegas, and so the burn and tingling went out of his hands. Why? You didn't fix the problem, but you're treating the problem. That's okay because you're using lipids to do it. Now here, think about this individual for a minute. He's got inflammation in the liver. He's got inflammation in the stomach. So you know the bowel wall is impacted lymphatically. So you know he's got malabsorption. So this is a bit, so if he's got malabsorption, what system is blocking absorption, even to the blood capillaries? The lymph. So the lymph absorbs lipids, doesn't it? Absolutely. And the lymph system is a lipid-based system. So what's going on here? You're probably not absorbing your fatty acids out of your foods like you need to help with the inflammatory process or your acidosis. So supplementing is what you have to do, at least for a while, to get some fatty acids. Keeping in mind, though, you've got to get the kidneys filtering and you've got to get your lymph moving to get that remedy, to get absorption, to get that acid out interstitially, to get all this to back out and to repair any cells that are getting damaged before they convert too far down the road. You know what we call that when they're way down the road there, we call that the C word. So you want to get all this out, and the kidney and the adrenal function is your key. And you see, if you go back how you're talking, that you're starting to lose your adrenals back there, which then trip the kidneys, which then trip the lymph system, and now you have inflammation everywhere. I mean, this could have been going on all your life too, but it's enough to say See, I only have 10 minutes left here, and I haven't even cracked the surface. So you see, Paul, why sometimes I can't get to all of you guys. I'm just hoping that there's enough information I'm feeding you guys that I help you. Especially for those I just can't get to. I didn't cherry pick any of these. I grab them as they give them to me. We set them in a pile here. Nobody goes through them. Nobody has any time in our office to go here. We don't have anybody in our office that has time to dilly-dally. Everybody's working full bore here because we can't afford to hire tons of people, so we have to have people do their jobs. So nobody has time to sit and cherry pick and play games like that. I'm not a game player, obviously. Let me see. I gave up gluten and most other aggravators that were found in a food sensitivity test, but I noticed that my lymph nodes in my neck. Yeah. I know where you're going, Seth. Lymph nodes in my neck and groin were getting larger and had an ultrasound done. They were not hard. Thank you, God. But that's the concern, is over time, these lymph nodes getting harder. For some of you guys that are struggling, let's talk about the scary thing. The scary thing to all of this is what Seth is alluding to and what Seth just said. They're not hard yet. When your lymph nodes gets hard as a rock, what do you guess? Filtering or not filtering? Not filtering. So you've got cells on one side of the lymph nodes feeding all their sewage into the lymph nodes, which can't get there because the lymph nodes are now hard and blocked. Of course, the kidneys have created that because the blockage started in the kidneys. Now resonated back to the lymph nodes. Now the lymph nodes swell because the kidneys aren't filtering. They swell and get hard, and now the sewage backs up to the cell. So back in the tissue, whether it's heart, lungs, liver, stomach, doesn't matter where, same problem. So then that backs up. See what we're up against? The scary thing, deterioration of a lymph node or the hardness of a lymph node where you can't get to the cells on the other side. That's a problem. That's the scary thing. That's why when you see your lymph nodes, forget all these dark holes people are talking about. You got to get yourself focused, because when you see your lymph nodes swelling, act. Move, go on this, because I'm telling you, it's hard enough to get all these tumors and stuff out of these advanced cases. When you start to see these things, go to your kidneys, go to your adrenal glands, get your lymph filtering. Key, because Seth, you don't want to go any further here, because this is, like I'm saying, it's working itself all the way up into your head. And now where we want to go. And I haven't even finished reading your letter yet. They were not hard or painful. Although I developed a sensitive lymph node in the groin for a short time, the ultrasound, you don't even need an ultrasound. You know immediately you're not filtering from your kidneys, and this is why they're there. Showed an enlarged benign lymph node in my neck. My vitamin D3 levels were very low at the time, 19 and 40s now, and I began to see a naturopathic doctor who specializes in GI issues and started an herbal routine to eliminate the found pathogens. Now, that's easy to do, but you know, when you're in a sewer system, expect to find the gnarly. You know, you're in a sewer system here. Urine and stool are both sewage. So that's the same sewage that's in your septic tank. It's the same sewage that the counties have sewer pipes to pick up. This is all sewage. But what is sewage? Food matter and chemistry. Chemistry. Unused chemistry, either at the cell or at the food level, right? She suspected leaky gut and had ANA levels tested, were elevated around 100. Immediately I was given relief from constipation with herbs, but over the course of 2 weeks developed diarrhea that would not cease. Stop herbs, but diarrhea did not stop. That's why you got to be smart even with the herbs. Now, I love these naturopaths, but I'd like to have some training with some naturopaths and teach them how to use these herbs correctly. Because you don't put people on laxatives and stuff. If you don't have our formulas, most formulas out there are a form of laxatives. I think we're the only company that makes non-laxatives, bowel formulas, in terms of moving them. So I don't know what to say about that. It's enough to say that I don't use laxatives. They overstimulate, and then you stimulate the liver, gallbladder, and that might be the happen. You overstimulated the gallbladder. Now you're getting into purging, diarrhea too much, that sort of thing. But just balance out. Come back and balance out. You want to get on our stomach and bowel number 1. That'll pull you into balance a little bit there, and start detoxifying yourself. Get yourself on a raw food diet, and then get yourself up into the fruits, berries, and melons. Let me see here. 2 weeks developed diet, okay. 4 to 5 months later, I am seeing blood. What? Oh my God. 4 or 5 months later, that's just why. I love you guys that come to school and everything, because you guys are getting it. And you're learning what not to do and what to do in terms of health. Because I love naturopaths. I just find there's so many of them that, of course, a lot of them are into the high proteins, and this lovely naturopath obviously is the herbs, which is great. But sometimes if they're not aware of our company. The very few companies out there that have, in my opinion, decent herbs, first of all, and second, there are good ones though out there. I like some good companies. Guy Herbs are good. I like Herbs Etc. These are high quality herbs. I like these people. I like Ed Smith, but you know, there's some good herbal companies out there, but they don't have 1-to-4s like mine. And I have a different take because I'm a healer dude, so I'm in a different take of what I'm looking at my formulas to do. I'm not looking at formulas for diseases. That's insanity. You might as well go chase rainbows and look for pots of gold. But you can use herbs to clean and rebuild tissue, and when you do, you're always successful. Time, of course, relative, but you're always successful. 4 or 5 months later, that's not good. Seeing blood in the watery stool. Now, did she recommend a high-protein diet? Because that's the very thing you wouldn't want to do. If you have high acidosis in the liver and stomach, and you have gastritis, and someone puts you on a high-protein diet, scary. That's why we have colon cancers and GI tract cancers, guys. You don't do stuff like that. You just don't do stuff. You got to be smart and understanding acid and base and the nature of foods when you're helping people get well. You got to be smart. You can't be just fly at the night and then grab somebody's ideas over here and run with that and then tear down some. You can't live in that world. You want to be a healer? You learn true healing. You learn what it is to heal people. And there's only a few of us doing it. All right, he had a colonoscopy performed last month, ulcerative colitis. Oh, see, that's why you don't put any protein down with any type of bowel problems. That would be the worst thing you could do. Send yourself to Hellville real quick. So that's one thing you don't want to do. Contact bleeding and significant inflammation was found. Now I am taking 40 milligrams of prednisone to manage inflammation. You get yourself in trouble. Seth, you get yourself in trouble. What you want to do is get herbs that are anti-inflammatories, mullein, slippery elm, fenugreek, marshmallow, things, comfrey, things that heal, coat, soothe, and acid. You're going to ruin your adrenals here. You're going to find yourself in very serious condition if you take this prednisone and try to fight this through a steroid or a fake steroid. You don't want to do that. This will just shut your adrenals down more, then it'll shut the kidneys down more, then your inflammation will go up higher, and then you'll be on steroids, and it's just a nightmare from hell, Seth. So you want to use, like we said earlier, these herbs or aloe or something to cool everything down. Get your kidneys filtering, get on your subacid fruits and your sweet fruits, maybe some greens. I wouldn't even do a salad with inflammation like this. Shackley vitamins. I really want to stop steroids and get my life back. Absolutely got to, Seth, because you won't get your life back in the way you're going. This is dangerous stuff. I wouldn't take vitamins from Shackley either. If you take anything from Shackley, take his alfalfa, which him and I were in line totally on the alfalfa. I knew Ann Wigmore personally, and I can tell you, I had conversation with her, disagree with her. I think alfalfa is the king of, and so did Shackley, the king of plants. And when you study them, I'm an old farmer dude, you don't get wheatgrass to your horses for muscles. You give them alfalfa. I go on walks most days, but I get tired fairly easily, and my heart rate can begin to race. I know you need to rest and get your acidosis out of you. Get your lymph moving, filtering through your kidneys. So I'd go, if you can afford to, go on the 14-week program we have, or you can send your Gupai in here and I'll put you on one. But get on a program that cools you down, that gets this inflammation out the right way, that deals with why you have the inflammatory response, and that's going to be acidosis. So you just want to work this way. So here are my questions. With ulcerative colitis, can I still do the raw fruit diet, cleanse, or should I, after the diet, juice my fruits and veggies? Well, I'm saying that I'm going to use the herbs to help buffer, because that's very, very important that you use the herbs to heal, because that's their job. They're already set up in their job, so they're going to heal and take care of that bowel. You're going to get your kidneys filtering, because without that, you can't pull interstitial stagnation of lymph out. So you can't reach the gallbladder liver enzymes. You can't deal with the gastritis. You can't deal with the lymph nodes on the neck and the groin. See what I'm saying? This is first. You got to address your lymphatic system first. If not minerals, you got to address your lymphatic system first, because if you don't, that will take you down to Hellville and in a grave. And that's not good. And you know, you don't want to lose your colon and everything. So you definitely want to take this the right way. So the slippery elm, the marshmallow, the mulleins, things like that, along with maybe some aloes, and then do your juices. I'd stay away from salads probably. They're hard to digest, you know, a lot of fiber. I do my fruit fiber. It's more gentle, subacid, more like apple sauces and stuff like that. Peaches, pears, grapes maybe the most strongest I do. I would probably, and the mangoes are nice. Come back down to maybe your figs and dates a little bit, maybe, and see how you do. If you're going to do any vegetables, you might have to steam some, but it's going to block you from detoxifying real aggressively. But at night, you might have to do a little steam just because of the acidosis here. Is there a way to perform a detox while still on prednisone? There is, but you want to get rid of that. That's going to serve to crash your adrenals, and you already have adrenals crashing. So this is just going to make everything explode in you. So I'm going to tell you, we all know that. So take that and start getting on your herbs for that, and then you'll be able to shuck that, the prednisone, and then you'll be able to control and get that inflammation out on the mucosa. But remember, the burn is interstitial for most cases. There's where you want to focus. Well, interstitial, how do you grab that? And that is, you have to grab it through the lymphatic system. You got to grab it through the skin and kidneys. So you got to get yourself sweating, your skin, your kidneys filtering. Get that. That means you have to get your adrenals up, and now you're on a path to wreck your adrenals here, and you already have wrecked adrenals. So you got to get out of that. I have had problems digesting foods in the past, in the months past. I take digestive enzymes, plant-based. I don't care if they're plant-based. So would I need to slightly cook my fruits down to make them easier to digest? No. Get rid of the digestive enzymes, you get yourself in serious trouble here. If you're having pancreatic inflammation and you're having a suppressed digestive enzymatic function there, then I suggest that you take the pancreatic herbs, the capsules, and I do probably 2 capsules 3 times a day, and inspire my pancreas to function. But what I would do, the fruits are the easiest to digest, and I start digesting them in my mouth, Seth. Seth, you've got to digest here. And just take your time and chew. I've taught myself to chew 50 times a day, but I'm the last to leave the table because I chew my food really good. And so you want to chew. That's one of the habits you get into, is you want to chew your food really good. And especially when you're highly inflamed in the gut, you want to super chew. So then you get all these digestive enzymes, and by the time you're down there, it's already half digested and you're good. You know. And so that's how I would do that one. What are your thoughts on FMT? Fecal micro, yeah, we just had a great discussion on this one. This is fecal microbacterial transplants. I think that's friggin' insane. And I think that this is the type of stuff Dimitri and some of the guys are going to have to be real careful about falling into, because this is crap. Literally. You don't need to go to these things. Understand causative factors. Understand that and address that. It's been your diet and your genetics all along that's caused these problems. That's all that causes our problems. It's what we eat, drink, breathe, and what we put on our skin, and our genetic weaknesses. That's the culmination of how our machine runs or not. So you have to change the fuel source and fix the machine. And that's not difficult. Keep it simplistic. You're in a world of intellectualism, which is pulling people and sucking people in like a dark hole. And once you're sucked in, it's hard to climb out unless you're spiritual enough. And that's the problem. Same thing with spirituality. There's a lot of holes in spirituality too. So you have to be real careful. I'm here to take you guys to the shortcut if you want it. It's there if you want it. Cut the crap. I can take you to God quicker, and I can take you to Wellville quicker. If you want. I do not think much of that, Seth. Not at all. And neither does any of our staff members here. I am thinking of performing a DIY one at home, and I have chosen a donor for the procedure. I just find this stuff insane. You're saying you could drink your urine too if you want. As this is a sort of the crap that's out there, and it's like these are from people that don't know a thing about health or a thing about getting well. They're treatment based, just like the mineral people. They're treatment based, and then you got all this. You know, it is true that when you start detoxifying, your body doesn't look the best in the world. Why would it? You're detoxifying. You have to have some common sense here, guys. When you detoxify, you're especially if you're malabsorbed, your body's going to look like a skeleton for a while. But you know why? But you're not going to take minerals and clean your lymph system. You're not going to take minerals that get acids out of the body. You're not going to take these things. We've tried those things, guys. Tried them for years. That's the problem. These sort of things keep cycling around, but when you're an older guy like me, you see that. You younger guys don't see that, but I do because you see it all the time. And some of us older practitioners have to laugh once in a while when we see these things. We say, they're coming through again. Urine therapy's back. Or microbial bacterial implantations. Jesus, fecal matter stuff. My liver levels are stable and look really good. However, I do get liver gallbladder pain. Yeah, but come on down. You know, I would say you really need to get your body detox. Get all these, make sure your lymph nodes are gone and everything else. And I hope this, because it's so in depth, I've got to go. But I hope this reaches more than just one person here. No blood and stool currently. Yeah, but you're holding everybody back with the prednisone. The problem is prednisone is kind of like putting a Band-Aid over something really bad to hide what's underneath there. And once you take it off, oh my God. So you just want to do this the right way. Eyes can have problems focusing on small print. I mean, so does mine. Random onset of pain in neck, near tonsils. I mean, you got feet ache. I mean, all this, my friend, is all acidosis, and you got to get this out of there. I just ordered your book off of Amazon and look for, oh, thanks, my friend. If you would like any of my blood work labs, you can send them. I'll look at them, Seth. You know, if you guys want to and you send in this, you can send them, and I'll read your labs real quick over the YouTube if you want me to, and it'll help you out there, you know. And it might be a good idea to help train you how to read labs a little bit, so it's up to you guys. But thanks so much, and I apologize immensely that the first part of this video had to be a little on the strong side, but I've been warning you guys about that, and now we're starting to see the negative forces biting at you guys and biting at our sites, and you can't do that. You got to keep it straight and on focus, because this world is full of that. The negative forces are so strong right now, and people are falling and being consumed by them, and it just means that you've lost your happiness, your joy. You'll be sucked into this intellectualism. You'll reincarnate, and your future is going to be right back in the same grind. Get out of this. Get out of this whole mess and lift your consciousness into these higher levels, and you'll find simplicity rules in the higher levels. Intellectualism rules creation, but that's what keeps creation good too. So there's reasons all this exists. It's just there's times of graduation, and a lot of you guys, time to graduate. And so many of you, I have to give my love to you because you're just doing so well. Some of you guys have wrestled some tough cases, turned them around, and they're coming back home. You just guys are doing so well, and you know who I'm talking about. So I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Don't fall. Don't get trapped. Keep yourself focused. If you're not getting well after a couple of years on herbs and fruit, there's something wrong. You need to call us and let us look at your case, because you've got something wrong. No one goes 2 years on fruits and herbs and doesn't get better and well. Never heard of anything so insane in my life. If you are not, something you're doing wrong. And you just have to lay your whole thing out and let's take a look at it and see what's going on there. But most of you have got a lot of good remedies from this, and I appreciate what you've done for yourselves. A lot of you have gotten yourselves out of the bed and walking now, and all kinds of neat things. I've been out of pain for years, thousands of you. We get your letters all the time here, and I love you for it. Thank you for all your cards of love and everything. I love you all. I'm here for you, but I'm a stable rock, and I will always be a stable rock. Doesn't mean, Dimitri, I'm not listening. Doesn't mean I'm unaware, my friend. Don't insult me, okay? It does mean, though, I'm going to keep you on the straight and narrow, because that's how you reach God consciousness. Plenty of byways, and there's plenty of exits to go off and play, but you can't get the well bill going down. And people have been going off of these paths for years. And look where they are. Look at where Harvey Diamond is right now. You want to see somebody's health problems? Look at Harvey Diamond. David Wolf, if you ain't careful, going to go down the same way. You have to be careful. You're not sucked in to the negative forces. So I love you guys. Have fun today. Make this a fun day. Go get some flowers for your loved ones or for yourself and have some fun. I love you all. Bye-bye now. May the blessings be.